Okay, so you've
That's
you've had
another thing to
the
keep in
big
mind.
talk.
Yep.
You now, do you put your committee together next?
Yes, that's exactly what you do. So I'll give you my example again. My first race, school committee. Again, 22-year-old kid
Right.
running for office for a school district that has a $48 million budget. That's a big ask for people.
That's a medium-sized corporation.
You're right. That's a big ask for people to trust a kid fresh out of college with.
Right.
You have to convince people that you know what you're doing, that you're measured. And a lot of the way that people get convinced of that sort of thing is not by what you say at first, although that plays a role later on. It's by who decides to back you early.
So these are made the phone calls to my friends and family.
Yep.
Now I'm making the phone calls to the community leaders and the thought leaders to get them on the
That's
committee.
right. The people that I've worked with, the people that I trust, the people that I know are well thought of in the community, and bring them together to kind of tell them exactly what you want to do, why you're running, what you want to accomplish. Are you with me?
Right. Can I count on your support?
Yeah. We make fun of him for it, but Jim Cantwell always uses the phrase goodwill ambassador.
Right.
And he's absolutely right. You're an ambassador for your candidate.
You're putting your name on this person.
That's right. That's right.
Which sounds weird, but it's actually
But
what
it's
happened.
true. It's true. So, yep, that's exactly what the next step is you call those people, you put together your committee, and you get their advice, because, even if you run 100 campaigns in your lifetime,
Right.
you're never going to know exactly what to do. Somebody's always going to think.
And every
of
neighborhood
something.
has a different issue.
Exactly. It's the name of the game is dealing with people and trying to earn the trust of people. So when you're doing that, it's always going to be unique every single campaign that you run.
Right. So you're always, you run for school committee, you've run for state rep, if you, whatever you run for next, you're still going to do the same process of call these community leaders regardless.
Exactly. If I run for office again, that's exactly what it's going to be. I've got to call these people who were so supportive of me the first time around. Even if they didn't support me in one of my runs, still going to call them. They have a stake in the community. You want to call these people. You want to get their thoughts on whether or not you're the right person,
Right.
And then you want to ask them for their help. Because you've got a whole lot of things to accomplish, and don't make the mistake to think that you can do it alone.
So this is a lot like what Greg Shanahan recommended. Make sure you get local as quick as possible.
Yes.
Anybody in the community that has any kind of following, we're talking PTA, we're talking baseball coaches, football coaches, if there's a knitting circle, you want to immediately reach out to them.
That's every single group that you can think of. Boys and Girls Club
Boys and Girls
is huge in Marshall. Chamber of Commerce. Just all these people who do so many wonderful things for the community.
Once again, all volunteers.
That's right.
Okay, so we've got our committee, we've called everyone, we got people on board. Next is your announcement.
Right.
Now, this is a combination press event, fundraiser, and a party.
And it will never, ever feel like it goes smoothly. It's no matter how prepared you are, there is always something that comes up. And that's okay. There's nothing
in
wrong with
ways that you didn't expect.
Right.
So, just a side story, Rep Cantwell, when he ran for state rep, we had the kickoff party, and it was huge. A huge amount of people showed up. We then come to find out afterwards, the police who were in charge of the traffic were turning people away. So we were wondering why we were not getting as loud. Well, it's because the police turned people away at the event.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank God that didn't happen to me. So there's always something. It doesn't.
What is your advice for when things go wrong?
Roll with the punches.
Just breathe?
Yeah, just take a step back, breathe. Tell yourself that you've surrounded yourself with good people and that you're running for the right reasons.
And empower them.
Exactly. And people are going to respond the way they see the candidate respond.
Right.
So if you have something happen during your campaign that is something that stresses you out, or something that comes up and you don't know exactly how to handle it right away, you just take a step back, because you've got volunteers, you've got family, friends, you've got people who believe in you that might not even know you that well, but just believe in what you say, coming to help you. If you're freaking out, they're going to freak out too, because they're looking to you.
So what I always point out is you have two people in a campaign that are extremely important. One is the candidate, and the other one is the campaign manager.
Yes.
So the candidate is always the nice, relaxed, breathe, don't worry, we'll get through it. The campaign manager is always the swearing asshole that nobody likes.
Right. You.
Yes. So the reality of the situation is behind the scenes, the campaign is probably the opposite, where the candidate's freaking out,
Right.
and the campaign manager is saying, calm down.
The campaign manager is definitely the calming source.
But the reality is forward-facing, your volunteers need to see a calm, actual candidate, but they can't allow it to get laxed. So you need a campaign manager that's going to, after Sean, the candidate, comes in and says, hey, great to see everyone, campaign manager comes in and says, why aren't you knocking doors?
Right.
So it's a kind of dynamic that you need a person in the campaign to counterset you.
Yes.
Because
It's a very unique role. And there's no two campaigns where one person will be exactly right for both jobs as campaign manager.
And the biggest mistake that I've seen is candidates that try to be the campaign manager, because it is two distinct problems.
Yes.
When volunteers don't show up, the campaign manager can go and scream at them.
Right.
The candidate can't.
I still wouldn't have the campaign manager scream at them, but
No, but you know what I'm saying.
ask them. They're given their time, but just ask them what happened. We're counting on you, and just remind them in a certain way. We're counting on you.
Right.
We need you to do this. We can't do this without you. Have you seen Bird Box yet?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay,
I'll have
well,
to
for
watch
those
it.
of you who have, there's a scene in Bird Box where Sandra Bullock, camera's directly on her face, and she's got her two kids there, and she's telling them in no uncertain terms, and very forceful, do not take your blindfold off. All these things she's telling them to do.
Right.
That's exactly what a campaign manager needs to do. So if you've seen Bird Box, be Sandra Bullock. When I was running my campaign for rep, I had a whole team of people who were de facto. Each person had a role.
Right.
Including my parents. My poor parents, their number one role was to make sure that things that were unnecessary for me to worry about didn't get to me.
You got to keep that off the plate of the
Yeah,
candidate.
exactly. And there was a structure. People knew, especially in the last couple of months, people knew, don't go to Sean with a problem unless you absolutely need, unless I tell you to. There's a hierarchy.
Because the candidate always needs to be meeting voters.
That's every second that you're not meeting a voter is a second wasted. And I had a guy working for my campaign, Galen Schrand, who was phenomenal.
Right.
And part of the reason Galen was so successful for me is because he was organized and he had that ability to keep me calm,
Right.
but keep me on task
Right.
and keep everybody else on task and keep things organized in his head. So that's a big part of the reason why he was so successful. The other part is kind of like you said earlier, we connected. Like
Right.
there's a friendship between the two of us. We still keep in touch. He's a great kid.
Which is why anyone who's ever worked on a campaign knows Trump is full of it when he says he has no idea who his campaign manager was. Don't get me started.
Yeah, don't
Bad
get me started
candidate.
either. Yeah. Bad president.
Bad president. So you do your kickoff, then it's just straight out. Doors,
Yep.
phones,
Yep.
meeting, greeting, shaking hands.
Hit the ground running.
That's it, straight out until you get to election night.
Right.
We never call it a victory party, but you got to schedule a party for the event. I always say the most important thing to do, thank everyone who helped you.
Yes.
Win or lose, those people only have the social experience. Even if you win the office, you don't have 9,000 jobs to give up.
Right.
So what do you think is important about the last part of the election?
You have to always remember, whether you win or you lose, that feeling of victory or that feeling of coming up short
Right.
is not just felt by you. People invest in this.
And crushing. It's crushing.
It is.
It's exhilarating when it works, but
Yep.
when it loses,
It's for me, when I won my school committee election, by the time of the election had rolled around, I had turned 23. I was 23 years old. I ran thinking that I would be a good candidate, but not really knowing whether or not I'd have a real shot at winning.
right.
I topped the ticket. You
Got more votes than anyone else.
You were there, and it was a great feeling that I didn't really expect. It wasn't just my victory.
Right.
The number you hit the nail on the head is thank your volunteers.
Right.
These are the people that carry you. These are the people that give up their weekends or their weeknights and come make calls for you, come knock on doors for
And
you.
it's a weird bunker feeling. When you work on a campaign, it shrinks time. And you form some relationships that are incredible.
Oh God, there are a group of people, like I said, that worked on my rep campaign that I still keep in touch with, that I will forever be grateful for. They hold a special place in my heart. there's 4 or 5 women who were so phenomenal for me. Galen, I mentioned, of
Right.
course, my parents, my grandmother, like I said. I was just on the phone with Deb Cornwall today.
Oh, wow.
Deb was like instrumental.
Who's now your treasurer?
Yes, she's the treasurer of the Democratic Town Committee. That's right, and she was full-time campaign staff essentially. Didn't get paid for it, but she believed in me and believed in the message that I spread, and that's touching. That's something that I'll never forget.